This Korean flick completely wrecked my reality. Regular folks get dragged into psych wards, then sliced open alive. Live tissue is premium. Organs harvested without anesthesia fetch higher prices. But the kicker? It's all perfectly legal. Even calling cops changes absolutely nothing here. Over 40 innocents have suffered this fate. When their supply runs dangerously low, they snatch randoms right off the street. Even when women scream for help, senders only make the situation worse. Seeing the psych van and uniforms, everyone assumes it's just official procedure. She gets wheeled inside without a single question. Soo-ah is baffled by the kidnapping. Orderly, routine. They toss her in a bathroom, strip her first, then blast her with freezing cold water. They're victims too, like Soo-ah. Soon, they dress her. Push her down the line to the boss. Soo-ah, this is a psych hospital. You don't need to be crazy to end up here. Fresh air, good food. Just cooperate and you'll leave soon. Her hope dies. She tries to sit up. Orderlies, unfazed. On schedule, they beat her until she agrees. Night falls. New orderly Han Dong-sik enters. Dong-sik is actually decent. Tells her to cooperate, or doctors get rougher. Soo-ah pleads, I'm sane. Dong-sik thinks. Real patients never admit they're ill. Suddenly, Soo-ah grabs his pen and chart, writes her number on it. An older orderly walks by, forces a pill into her mouth. In this place, dozens of victims are locked away, all taken for zero reason. Long-term meds? Healthy minds start acting insane. Miro is broken. She hallucinates her womb was stolen. Screams at Soo-ah, give me back my uterus. But she knows it's the drugs. Becoming like her? Soo-ah panics during her medical checkup. I hear you refuse your medication. He must cooperate, Soo-ah. Who put me here? Paranoid delusions. I'm not crazy, I'm normal. Plus, denial of illness. I don't know why I'm here. We'll increase the dosage. That helps. Doctor, I'm not insane. Wait, Soo-ah lies there, plotting an escape. Then feels fingers brushing her back. She spins, terrified. Someone's groping through a wall crack. Her neighbor's a creep. He licks his lips, staring at Soo-ah. Then a woman appears. Miro. She has privileges. No lock, she roams free. She walks into the director's office, takes a pill, instantly loses her mind. Clearly, Miro is just his toy. Soon, Soo-ah finds something even crazier. So many people trapped here to sell organs for profit. Fed water just to keep them fresh. Soo-ah escaped during a checkup. Security is tight. Every time, they beat her and threw her back. To survive, he asked the creep through the wall how to escape. The creep directly told him about a secret tunnel. Want the spot? Prove you're worthy first. What's the price for the truth? Meet me in the bath tomorrow. Next day, after everyone cleaned up, he said the tunnel's behind the office. Need the code. You owe me a quick rub. Soo-ah had no choice but to comply. He handed the code. She bit his dick off. Orderlies rushed in. Soo-ah slipped past to the door. Tried the code. Nothing happened. Miro used it late for private sessions. She watched him type it in secretly. Click. Door opened. Just like he said. Hidden tunnel inside the closet. Beep, beep, beep. Lock disengaged. Director walked in, bloody hands. Just wanted a drink. Heard a noise inside. Tunnel had no rails. Soo-ah slipped, lost her grip. Metal bars shredded her clothes. Deep cuts everywhere. All she could do was pray. Fell hard, landed in a pile of trash. Survived, crawled through the dark tunnel. out into the underground garage. Sunlight hit her face. She was finally out of hell. Before she could rest, an ambulance screeched up. Sua ran without hesitation. A patrol car blocked her path. Orderlies saw the cops and quit. Sua collapsed in the back seat. Safe? Not quite. The director stayed calm. He made one phone call. Cops received orders from the top. They dragged her back to the asylum. The police were in his pocket. The neighbor knew the tunnel because he used it too. Sua woke up strapped to a table. The director was cutting up a patient nearby. First, remove the organs. He ordered Dong-sik to move the box. Dong-sik dropped it. Organs and a head spilled out. His blood ran cold. He realized the truth. The director was smuggling organs all along, and he was helping. Think your pay is free? Stop acting innocent. Look at me. Know who I am? After leaving the surgery room, he thought he was saving lives. He killed dozens. Then he remembered Sua's phone number. He called. Her boyfriend Jinho answered. Jinho rushed to the hospital based on the call. He met the police chief there. The chief was the smuggling partner. They were opening new branch hospitals. Jinho found Sua on the table. He grabbed her and ran, bumped into the director. They were dragged back and forced to kneel. The director beat Jinho nearly to death. Jinho knew too much. He couldn't leave. The director decided to sell Jinho's organs to save her boyfriend. She claimed she was sick, needing treatment, promising to behave and never escape. But the director said all three had to die, even prepping Soya's death cert. Milo arrived at the office, waiting for the director's treatment as usual. Bored from waiting, she lit candles and started playing with fire. Soon, small candles covered the entire room. In an instant, a massive fire broke out, trying to save the large amount of illicit cash hidden inside. Meanwhile, Milo wandered around and ended up in the surgery room. Seeing Milo, Soya grabbed her like a lifeline, lying she'd give back her uterus. But first, untie us. The crazy Milo naturally agreed. Back at the office, it had turned into a sea of flames. The greedy director was severely burned in the fire. However, just as they were preparing to flee, the director suddenly burst out of the fire and used his last strength to drag Jinho into the flames with him. Soya was devastated after losing her boyfriend. The fire burned for a full day and night. That hellish hospital, along with the director's criminal evidence, was completely reduced to ruins. Only Soya luckily escaped. Everyone else perished in the fire. But then something bizarre happened next. The police chief was shot dead on the day of the fire. Soya was taken into custody as the prime suspect. But due to extreme trauma, she acted crazy since the fire, making investigation impossible. The illegal activities within the hospital remained unknown. They kept her locked in a special prison for a whole year, until a news reporter Habek received a notebook burnt halfway through. The notebook was written by Soya while confined in the psychiatric ward. The gruesome words constantly stimulated the reporter's senses. Coincidentally, this reporter had been suspended recently for fake news. If he exposed this explosive story, he could surely get out of his suspension trouble. Soon he visited Soya in the prison, trying to learn more about the hospital from her. After Suya's fragmented memories, the reporter grew increasingly angry listening, determined to expose every scandal of that hospital. The reporter first went to a law firm where he learned from them that Korean law has always had a terrifying loophole. With a guardian's consent and a doctor's diagnosis, even normal people can be legally committed. At the same time, some people exploit this loophole to bribe doctors and send unwanted elderly relatives they refuse to support into these facilities. Everyone here had been abandoned by their families, meaning no one cared what the hospital did. They not only trafficked organs for huge profits, but also shamelessly collected government subsidies. It seems the one who committed Soya must have been her legal guardian. The reporter was shocked after investigating further. Unexpectedly, Soya's guardian was the police chief. In 2014, he was also Soya's stepfather. When Soya was still a high school student, her mother remarried this police chief. The reporter immediately sensed something was off. How could a police chief target a divorced commoner? A quick investigation revealed the truth. Turns out, Soya's mother owned valuable land. But shortly after marrying the chief, she died. Of a mysterious heart attack, it seemed. Her death certificate was issued by the hospital director, the very same shady director we know. Although her mother had left a will, it named Soya as the sole beneficiary. The chief sent Soya to a mental asylum, to seize her inheritance, no doubt. But a fire broke out at the hospital. Miraculously, Suya survived. She returned home and killed her adoptive father. The reporter visited Suya again with his theory. But when he asked about the police chief, under constant verbal pressure, Suya finally revealed part of the truth. Back when she was a high school student, her adoptive father threatened and abused her. After escaping the fire that day, she saw her adoptive father at her door. She really wanted to kill him herself, but the chief knew his secrets were exposed. He picked suicide first. When Suya heard the shot, the chief was already dead. She got arrested as the main suspect. I still don't know how the chief died. We need evidence right now. Prove you were in the mental hospital. Only then will your story hold up. I can expose everything, but you must cooperate with me. Do as you say, with Suya's agreement. The reporter went back to making fake news. Kang Suya stayed in a mental hospital. He paid a burn victim to help. They faked a video together. With heavy pixelation for safety, Kang Suya stayed in a mental hospital. Then he found the hospital's medical supplier. Through threats and bribes, he got key evidence of the chief and director. The next day, he exposed their crimes on air, showing Suya's tragic past and her father's abuse in high school. Kang Byung-ju touched me since I was in school. As the audience got emotional, the reporter asked why no murder evidence. Because the chief actually committed suicide. But due to his sensitive position, under pressure from higher-ups, police made innocent Suya the scapegoat. This explosive news aired. It caused huge public outrage. As the reporter predicted, citizens supported Suya's innocence. They even formed protest groups. Under public pressure, Suya quickly got a second trial. She was acquitted and released. The reporter became famous overnight, a sought-after star for TV shows. Public anger soon subsided. National, one open product. But is this really the truth? On the day Suya was released, the reporter met her at the prison. He sent her to her hometown to rest. But as he was leaving, Suya said something intriguing, called the murder weapon. Patients are never allowed sharp objects. You can't use pointed things in the hospital. At first, the reporter didn't understand. He realized it when checking his notes. Since the asylum won't let you use a pen, Suya's story seems to undo everything before it. 3. Until now, the truth finally comes out. Turns out this notebook was always the new orderly Dong-six. It had Suya's name written on it. That's what tricked the reporter into thinking it was hers. Since the fire killed everyone in the hospital, including the evidence, Suya, the only survivor, became the story's sole author. Suya was never the one locked up to begin with. After the director got her mother's will, he teamed up with the director to lock her up. Suya never even had a boyfriend. The boyfriend she talked about, that was her own alter ego. She was the one running all over town looking for her mom. Then she got a call from the orderly who had a change of heart. When she reached the hospital and was about to save her mom, the director yanked her mom into the flames too. Suya watched her mother die right in front of her. The whole nightmare? Her monster of a stepfather. Back home, Suya stole a gun and pulled the trigger without hesitation. One up, when the cops arrested Suya, she pretended to be traumatized, acting crazy. But inside, she was always thinking, how could she craft this story to get away with it? The outcome? Obvious. The reporter, now understanding everything, had no plan to expose her. Some polish? After all, this ending. This works best for Suya and his own promotion.